I politely called this trash. Yes. I found the nicest way to call it terrible. I feel very accomplished. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Negative1. Thunder Dragons is here. It's top tier. Anyway, uh, I was just going over the Meta Championship Series number 38. All the results, how I did it, just how all the decks converted, um, what was popular. So if we look at full breakdown, Blue Eyes was actually kind of skyrocketed in popularity. If you look at the Meta Weekly prior, Blue Eyes was played to moderate usage, but you would definitely say Noble Knights was the expected deck going into this tournament. I would say everyone was expecting mostly Noble Knights, and then on the side it was like there should be some Blue Eyes, so I should prepare for Blue Eyes, but I don't think there was the expectation that Blue Eyes would be the most played, or definitely just not represented to the degree that it was. Um, but Blue Eyes was first. Noble Knights still very close second, very highly used. Combined, they take up almost half of the tournament. Then we have Desperado, Thunder Dragons, as well as Black Queens, Fire Kings, Invoke Neos, kind of like trailing behind. And then if we go over to top 32, we see Blue Eyes and Noble Knights, once again, most represented in Top Cut, very strong conversions. As you'll see later, Noble Knights didn't convert as well into top 16 as Blue Eyes did, but still it did get represented quite a bit. Desperado emerged as a very interesting contender from this one, as well as Thunder Dragons converting well, Invoke Neos, Black Queen, Cyber Dragons, Dark Lords, Heroes, Ritual Beasts. These are the more rogue um, decks, somewhat not what you would expect to perform well. And if we kind of go over to the lists, first place was Thunder Dragons actually, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I've tried this list, and I'll be honest, it is very inconsistent, I should say. um, I know some people in chat have mentioned that they also tried this list, and they have wrecked a ton with it. So, if you do choose to play Thunder Dragons, you may not want to go towards building this list. Maybe spend your gems in a different way, build towards one of the other lists, just because from the experience I've had just trying this list out, it breaks so hard. So yeah, my recommendation would be perhaps build a different list, or if you can play this list, try it a little bit before like settling on it, but I would say maybe try something different. So with Thunder Dragons in first, we also have Invoke Neos in second, and here we start to see the trend of Book of Moon. So for the few tournaments after Book of Moon was released, there was not so much usage. Some people were like, oh, Book of Scam, skill selection box ripoff, but here we're starting to see Book of Moon highly used. Book of Moon second place, top 4 list. Desperado not using Book of Moon, but even Black Queen's using Book of Moon. That's me. Blue Eyes citing Book of Moon. And just as you go down, you'll see a lot of decks either maining Book of Moon or they'll side into it. So, yeah, a lot of decks using Book of Moon. But just to go to my list, I did get top 8 in this event. I was running Noble Knights because a few hours before the tournament, I was not sure what I wanted to run. I had no idea because I honestly did not prepare very much. So I decided I'll play it safe and go with Noble Knights because Noble Knights I feel are fairly straightforward. I didn't play Witchcrafter. It was something that I wanted to play, but I had like 4 hours of sleep, so I was like, I'm not gonna be able to play Witchcrafter on 4 hours of sleep. It's just gonna be sad. It's gonna be really sad. So instead, I opted to go for Noble Knights. Some interesting choices I went with are the Dust Tornadoes and the Canadias. So these techs I went for were because um, if you go second with Noble Knights, you'll often have scenarios where your opponent interrupts the Merlin or it interrupts the Midrot, and then because they do that, you just have to end your turn. And on their turn, they will make their plays, and if you have to use Karma Cut or Raigeki Break, you're spending a lot of the cards in your hand to survive that turn. But if you're spending a lot of the cards in your hand, you might not have enough cards to make a play um, when you get another turn. So it won't matter that you survive if, like, oh, I spent all my cards like using Karma Cut and Raigeki Break to just like keep my opponent from killing me, but then I just draw and I only have one card in hand and it's like a glory and I have no monster to use it on because I had to send my monster with Karma Cut, you know? So I still kept the Karma Cut and the Raigeki Break, you know, they still are useful, but I opted to go for more Paleozoic Canadia because Canadia, it can flip a monster face down. It doesn't lose me as much cards just to survive, and also I can use Canadia to flip a card face down, and if another trap activates, such as Dust Tornado or another Canadia, Canadia can come back and it can be a body to protect myself. So all of this is just like trying to survive the turns where I can't like um, really do a whole lot else, and then just so I can keep the cards in my hand, such as Glory or Arf or Destiny. I can keep these cards so that I can make a play on the following turn. So I cited 2 enemy controller for the mirror match because in the mirror match you'll summon your monster and then your opponent will try to like interrupt that, and sometimes, and then what you can very common play is that they'll summon Artorigus rank 5 on your turn, and they'll also summon a Dristan, and then the Dristan's effect will be used to pop your monster, and then what you do is you use enemy controller, you tribute your monster, and you take their Artorigus, and then you just go into you rank up into a Gaia Dragon, the Thunder Charger, because you can summon this by using a rank 5 or rank 6 XYZ monster. So what you do is you just steal their monster, and then you just yoink and like slap your card on top of it. So that's a pretty neat play. Beyond that, I cited a copy of Destiny because Destiny, it's also good in the mirror match. It's also good against Thunder Dragons because Thunder Dragon or Chaos Dragon Legionnaire, it tries to destroy 2 cards on the field, but Destiny protects your monster, so protecting from the Thunder Dragon boss monster, pretty important. I cited 2 Drowning Mirror Force because oftentimes people will just like Karma Cut your first monster and then, oh, Noble Knights don't have any real back row, I'll just swing directly. And you can just win a ton of games off of Drowning Mirror Force, so that's why I cited Drowning Mirror Force. And then I cited 2 Unending Nightmare because you want some sort of way to get rid of Zombie World and Necro Valley, which are like the most common side deck cards against Noble Knights at the moment. I believe the only other Noble Knights in the top 16 was Bahu, and he had a similar list. All the same equips, opted to run a Cyclone. Um, but I don't think there were any other Noble Knights in the top 16. But as you can see, there were a lot of Blue Eyes as I'm just kind of scrolling past. Pretty much all of them are running Ultimate Dragons because Ultimate Dragons can help when you brick, and of course Ultimate Dragons lets you get to use Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon, and Twin Burst is very strong against Noble Knights because Noble Knights will use. Let me scroll back. They will use Destiny to protect their boss monsters, but Twin Burst can like banish the monsters equipped with Destiny, so it gets around that. And if an Artorigus rank 5 is equipped with Gallatin, it's not something you can swing over with any of your other monsters. However, if you use the Twin Burst, you can swing in. You take 200 damage, but then you banish the Artorigus, so it's overall worth it. So that's why Ultimate Dragons is the preferred skill for Blue Eyes at the moment. And you'll see a lot of them are running very similar list. 3 consonants, 3 sage, 3 stone, 1 alternative, 1 dragon spirit, 3 vanillas, and then some combination of Regeki Break and Karma Cut. Some people are also playing Book of Moon, as you can see here. Also the 1 Melody of Awakening Dragon. And Blue Eyes has just really seen an upswing or an uptick in usage. Even if it's just 1 card added to the deck, you can definitely see that this 1 card has had a major impact, because even if it's, oh, they only added 1 new card, how much is 1 new card actually doing? Well, it's not that they just added 1 new card. We have alternative, but we also have Melody of the Awakening Dragon, you know? So, technically, they kind of, in a way, they added 2 cards to Blue Eyes, because they added alternative, but they also added add a way to search alternative, so we have 2 ways to get to alternative. And so, well, 2 cards, that 2 isn't that major, right? It's not that big. Well, yes and no, because you can use cards of consonants with Sage and Stone to draw and discard, so even if you only run 2 copies of alternative, you're even more likely to see it. So, yeah, I would say for these reasons, Blue Eyes has definitely seen a major jump up in usage, which is really neat to see. So, for those reasons, I think Blue Eyes, I'm not sure how strong it is tier-wise. I'm not sure if it's really going to make it to tier 1, even if it is being represented that way, but it's definitely a strong strategy, and I think it has a lot of potential moving forward. I think the last thing to cover would be Desperado, and shoutouts to Sniffus for making top 16. A new development is that they are now running Ally of Justice Quarantine, which says neither player can special summon light monsters, which is pretty impactful against Blue Eyes, considering all of the monsters are light. So, it's also pretty impactful against Noble Knights, because the Draught wants to summon from deck, and pretty much all of your level 4s are light monsters, so this 1 card shuts down Blue Eyes and Noble Knights. So for that reason, Desperado saw quite a bit of success in this tournament. I think, if I recall correctly, Sniffus ended up playing against Ritual Beasts, which Ritual Beasts are all wins, so his strategy kind of like fell apart when your opponent is not running a deck of like light monsters. But it was still a pretty smart move, performed pretty well, and the idea paid off, so congrats to him. So yeah, I'd say that was my wrap up. Thank you everybody for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you later. Peace. We finished the YouTube video. How was my acting, guys?